So I wanted to do a quick update on Aaron Hernandez. And sorry for my voice, but I'm a little under the weather. So apparently, it's been brought to light that he had what they call a jailhouse brother, which, I mean, that could mean a number of things. It could be, someone he was real close to, which was the case, or someone who they could have been butt buddies, which also has been insinuated. But it's stating that he was like real close to this guy. But I'm going to read this article that discusses their relationship and also the suicide notes that he left before he committed suicide. But before that, I also found out that he is actually broke. Like, he doesn't have, any money to his name. And then, because I've been seeing this meme on Instagram saying that, oh, he killed himself for a reason, that he killed himself because he had all this money and he wanted to leave all this money to his daughter before he actually got convicted or whatever. And come to find out, he actually does not have any money. That they're going to have to sell all of his assets just to take care of his daughter and his fiance. But I want to get into this article. It says Aaron Hernandez was so close with his jailhouse friend Kyle Kennedy. He corresponded with Kennedy's family, wanted to give him a nearly $50,000 watch, and called him by his nickname Pure. Kennedy's lawyer, Lawrence Army Jr., told reporters Wednesday. But Army wouldn't address questions over whether Kennedy and Hernandez had a sexual relationship, saying only his client wants to personally address the nature and extent of the relationship between him and the ex-NFL star and convicted murderer. So, I mean, you could only assume that they had some kind of sexual relationship given the fact that he doesn't want to express, like, the extent of their relationship. But I mean, honestly, that's their business. It doesn't really matter. The other thing that I'm kind of concerned with is the fact that he has a fiance, and he said, I think, in a statement that she never asked where he would go, when he would go out, whatever. As a black woman, we always ask questions. We always know when something's going on. So she had to have known, because as I get deeper into the article, I will tell you why I think that they had some kind of relationship, because some things just doesn't make sense. Army has said one of the 3 suicide notes Hernandez left in his cell before he hanged himself last week at the maximum security Souza Baranowski Correctional Center in Shirley, Massachusetts, was intended for Kennedy, a 22-year-old Uxbridge resident who is serving a prison sentence at Souza Baranowski following his 2015 arrest for armed robbery. Quoting from the letter, Hernandez wrote to Kennedy's father, Mr. Kennedy, it's Aaron. I'm writing to you, and Pure doesn't know. He's my brother, and he always will be. Army said Wednesday that other letters Hernandez wrote to Kennedy's stepbrothers, stepsisters, and father show the depth of the relationship. He said he wouldn't release the remainder of the letters. That also, too, the depth of their relationship. I mean, if it wasn't something that was on a sexual level, then there would be no issue with saying what was in the letter. There would be no issue with releasing the letter. However, the letter is personal and was written to them, so they don't have to release the letter. But my thing is like, well, what's the point in saying, bringing this to light, saying that there were letters and there was some kind of, possible sexual relationship if there wasn't? I mean, if it was meant to not be anyone else's business, then they wouldn't have put it out there to then eventually be someone else's business and for people to speculate. And that's the thing that always happens after someone dies, is that all their dirty laundry is aired, which I find is inconsiderate and disrespectful to the deceased. Army said the two had asked to be cellmates last September, a request that was initially approved, then denied. What my client told me is Aaron Hernandez is one of the most powerful forces as a person he's ever known. Army said Kennedy was stunned and saddened over Hernandez's suicide, and at first thought it was a joke being played on him because workers at the prison knew how close the two were. He said his client didn't have any indication Hernandez was planning on killing himself, though Hernandez told Kennedy in early March that he was thinking he was going to hang it up. My thing is, like, if someone insinuates something that has to do with suicide, I would take it seriously. Hernandez hanged himself April 19th in his cell using a bedsheet just days after he was acquitted of fatally shooting two Boston men in 2012, and as his lawyers were appealing his conviction in the 2013 shooting death of Odin Lloyd, a Boston man who had been dating his fiancee's sister. Hernandez had been serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole in the Lloyd murder. Kennedy believes he was the last person to see Hernandez before he died. Kennedy was placed on suicide watch after Hernandez's death, Army said, but it was because of jail procedure, not because his client posed a risk to himself or others. He was taken off suicide watch several days later, but since has been put back on it, hoping to be taken off of it soon. And with these letters coming to light and it possibly being their relationship exposed, this guy does not have life in prison. So therefore, when he gets out, and as you can see from the picture, he looks like, a criminal. And I'm just going to say that simply because based off the tattoos and what it looks like teardrops under his eyes, which everyone knows is an indication that someone killed someone. And of course, he's in jail for armed robbery. But Army said his client hasn't been asked questions by the media about his relationship with Hernandez, and it's an impossibility for him to speak to reporters now because he is on suicide watch. Army has requested the suicide note to be turned over to his client, who has not yet seen it. Rumors of letters to a gay lover in or out of prison are false, Hernandez's lawyer Jose Baez told him TMZ. These are malicious leaks used to tarnish somebody who is dead. Like I said, this always happens after someone dies, especially someone who is high profile. It always comes out that, they had some kind of relationship. But the thing I wanted to really get to was at the end of the article. It says Army wouldn't describe how the two men came to know each other, but said they knew of each other before Kennedy was incarcerated through correspondence. How? That leads me to believe that they knew each other before Hernandez even went to prison. Because my thing is, how did they know each other before Kennedy, came to that prison? Because Hernandez had been in there since 2013. So that raises a lot of questions. But tell me what y'all think in the comments below.